Flipping and Wholesaling Houses in New York show. I am Michael Pinter, where I teach you how to start flipping or wholesaling houses in New York, or if you're already doing it, how to grow your business. Okay, question today is, do you need a real estate license to flip houses? So, really depends on where you are and what you mean by flipping houses. So let's talk about it. I define flipping houses as buying a house, fixing it up, and selling it. That's what I consider a flip. Many other people have other things to do it, but in the industry, that's really what a flip means. It means a fix and flip, a rehab renovation. There is also something called wholesaling, which I do sometimes, which is I buy a property and I assign the contract to another cash buyer who's going to do the renovation. Now, there are parts of the country where you do need a license to do that. There are not, most of the country you don't. You don't need a license for that. And you certainly don't need a license to buy a real estate license, to buy a property, renovate it, and sell it. You do need a real estate license to actually list the property for sale on the multiple listing service, or you don't need a license, but someone does. You need to use a licensed agent to do that. And if you are going to be showing that property, and you want other agents to come, you probably do need a license too. Now, if you're talking about just flipping the contract or assigning the loan, you don't need it in New York. You do need it in the state of Illinois. Now, I recommend that anybody who's doing real estate investment, flipping houses or wholesaling or wholetailing, just to explain, is when you buy a house, you do very little work to it and then put it out on the retail market. I've done that a bunch of times. But I became a realtor because I wanted to control that listing when I finally sold the property after the work was done or on a wholesale situation. Now, you don't need a license to wholesale properties in New York. You do need a license, as I said, in Illinois. But I recommend that anybody doing this gets licensed. And there's really three main reasons why I recommend that you do get licensed. The first reason is you want access to the multiple listing service. The MLS, our MLS, I think, is the worst MLS in the country by far of the ones I've seen. I've seen a bunch in Florida. I've seen Chicago. I've seen a few in California. Those are far better than ours. Those are the worst. But still, it is still the best place to compound properties and come up with a value. And that is something that I think anybody in this business needs to know how to do. And if you're doing it with Zillow and Trulia, you are cruising for a bruising. I have seen literally 40 to 50% off marks on its estimates. So I think it's a huge mistake. You're taking a huge risk. So number one, you want to get the best data. You want access to the MLS. Now, theoretically, if your spouse or your sister has access and gives you her credentials, which they're not supposed to, then that doesn't apply so much. Also, if you don't want to get licensed for whatever reason, you can use PropStream, which is 85% as good as the MLS. Not as good, but pretty good. Okay. The second reason you want to be licensed is that you want to be able to list your properties for sale. So if you're flipping or rehabbing and you're done with the work or wholetailing, which I discussed earlier, then you want to be able to list it on the MLS because that'll get the most potential buyers to see it and should get you the best price. Also, even if you're wholesaling, it's perfectly 100% legal in our area to list a property for sale for a cash buyer. You're not allowed to represent you own it. You have to be listed as the contract vendee. That means I'm in contract and I'm looking to assign the contract to you, and you make it clear. It's perfectly legal. You can do that. It's also a great way to build your buyers list. You're going to get people who are usually legitimate, although you might get people who are trying to middle themselves in. So that's the second reason why you want it. And the third reason is if you're really going on enough seller appointments, you're going to come in contact with people that A, should list instead of selling it to you. And I've said 1,000 times to people, listen, selling it to me is not going to be your best option. It's not going to get you the most money, right? If you want the most money, you want to list it, right? Now, some people can't list it for whatever reason, the condition, the time, municipal issues, other problems where they can't. But if they can, I tell them, list it with me. I'll list it and I'll get you the money that you want. Just had a property close in Lindenhurst where a guy wanted like $400,000. House had a few little issues. I said, listen, your house is worth more than that, but I can't pay $400,000 as an investor. But if you let me list it, I think I can get you more. We just got him $450,000. So even after commissions, he netted probably $430,000. So it was a great deal, right? And I try to do what's best for sellers in every situation. And also, you're going to meet people who don't even understand the concept of an investor sale. You're going to get there and they're going to go, let's list it with you. Now, if you're not an agent, someone else is going to get that commission. It's just foolish from my perspective. So I just closed on a listing today, right? It was property in Amityville. Guy wanted a lot of money, huge humongous property, like, what was it, like over 200 by over 100. So, like 3/4 of an acre. Really was there for a developer. I found the builder for it. Sold it for much more than he could have sold it if he didn't list it. I think he got $675 for it, and that was a property I was never going to be able to buy as an investor ever, right? I would never be able to get him the money that he wanted, but I found him the buyer that could give him the most money, and we made a commission on it, and it's great. So I think it's foolish to think that you can't be both. It's foolish to think that there's any conflict of being both, and it's foolish to think that you shouldn't get it. Now, also, it's really easy to get licensed. It is really easy. You take a 75-hour course, take it online, which costs no more than $100. Then you take a test. Some of the education companies require to take their test before you take the state test. State test costs $8. Talk about total investment of about $108, and you're licensed. Just need to associate with a brokerage. You can easily park your license with me. I don't charge anything. Costs $500-600 a year to get access to the MLS. Certainly worth it. It's easy. It's much easier than you think. I know people say, I'm not good at test taking. It's something that if you want to do, you don't even have to really want to do it. You just have to want it a little bit, and you'll get it. Because let's be honest, most realtors, there are some very bright realtors, and most realtors are not the brightest bulbs in the batch. You know what I'm saying? And these guys all passed the test and went through the course. It's not a big deal. It's cheap. It's simple. I would highly advise not going for a live course, which they're giving now, because then it always becomes a conflict. That's a full week of your life. And I have people come to me all the time. They go, well, I can't learn online. I'm not going to know it. It's very likely that even if you go to a live course, you're not going to learn a goddamn thing either, right? It's hit or miss getting a good instructor. I've sat through tons of continuing education, tons of courses. I've gotten licensed in 5 different fields. And I can tell you, it's very easy to get up there and get a jerk-off, pedantic, schmuck of an instructor who's not going to teach you anything. You're going to need to learn this stuff on your own anyway. And for this test, there's a simple book you can literally get out of the library called Cram for the Exam, Studying for the New York State Real Estate Salesperson or Broker's License. It's simple. If you want to find a cheap course, just Google new NYS Real Estate Salesperson 75-hour course. I guarantee you'll find something for $99. I guarantee it. So $100 plus $8 for the test. You fail the test, you should take it again. It's just not a big deal. Get licensed for the 3 reasons I told you. But you don't need it. You don't need it. And I tell people all the time, do not wait. So I talk to students all the time, and people tell me, I've heard every reason in the book why somebody's not starting. I am trying to build a buyer's list. Bad idea. I'm trying to get my financing in order. Stupid idea. I'm trying to get my business cards. Not necessary. I'm trying to design a logo. All those things are horse crap. You need to speak to sellers. Start marketing for sellers. You don't need any of that stuff. And you don't need to be licensed either. You can start that process while you're doing it. But do it. It's not a problem. Anybody can watch this video that I just am giving you now and be licensed in a month. In a month. That's really how it is. And with very little work. If you work at a computer all day, the course can just run in the background, to be honest with you. Just have a tab open. You can learn from the online course. I'm not saying don't learn from it. I'm not saying don't put your effort into it. I'm just saying that you basically can study from a book after a pass. You need a 70 on the test. You don't need to know everything. At least 20 to 30% of it is common sense. So you don't need that much. You don't need to know that much. Anybody can get licensed. Anybody. So I highly recommend you do, but you don't need to, and it's not required. So when you hear things like, "Oh, wholesaling is illegal," it's not illegal, right? It's all the local people, all the local municipalities can do to make it illegal. It's just say you have to get a license. So just get a license. It's simple. It's easy. That's how I look at it. And as far as I know, only the state of Illinois requires it for wholesaling. Nobody requires it to buy a property, fix a property, and then go list it with another agent if you want to. But I think you should be licensed and control listing yourself. I hope this was helpful. If you are interested in various ways I can help you, go to howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're interested in finding out more about a course I teach, a course I have that teaches how to do what I do, go to howtoflipnewyorkcourse.com. If you're interested in finding out more about one-on-one coaching, go to coaching.howtoflipnewyork.com. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe. If you're watching on any platform, please click the thumbs up. And what else? Oh, please keep the comments coming. I try to post 5 times a week, every week. This week I wasn't so good, but I'm 9 out of 10 weeks. I'm posting 5 times a week, and I run out of things to talk about. So your comments give me topics. So if you can ask any comment about anything. It doesn't even have to be about the video you're watching. I try and answer all comments within a day. And if it's simple, I'll just reply with an answer. If it's something I've covered before, I'll send you links to videos on it. And if it's a new topic, I'll do a new video on it. So thank you very, very, very much for watching. I really appreciate it.